Acquiring literacy is an empowering process, enabling millions to enjoy access to knowledge and information, which broadens horizons, increases opportunities, and creates alternatives for building a better life. This is Varda chairing first Highflyers Global Literacy Leadership e-Symposium, where educational leaders from 6 different countries will be addressing literacy issues and their solutions, while 100K global teachers will be joining us as participants. So if you're watching us, don't forget to write your name and your country in the comment section. In this session, we have Ms. Mayce El Mostafa from Kuwait to discuss global collaboration practices for literacy. Mayce Al Mustafa is a PhD candidate at Institute of Education in London, where her research explores the integration of sustainability in higher education across the Gulf Cooperation Council. Her work emphasizes the role of global collaboration and institutional strategies in advancing sustainable development through education. Alongside her academic pursuits, Mayce has professional experience in engineering and project management in North America and the Middle East, with a focus on sustainable and educational infrastructure. She also served as board member and past president of the MIT Arab Alumni Association, leading initiatives that bridge research and sustainable development in the Middle East. So, welcome, Mayce, and thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, Warda, to contribute to this important conversation on global literacy. And I look forward to talking. Yes, you've touched upon my research, but honestly, literacy is the foundation that enables all the other forms of learning and progress. So honestly, like without it, communities will struggle. So it's the first door that will help the opportunities for everyone.
I believe that your contribution will be very valuable for our audience and we'll have a broader perspective of literacy. So, to start with, I would like to ask how can educational research and evaluation contribute to global literacy initiatives and what matrices are most effective in measuring its social impact?
Honestly, educational research, I'm going to try to make it simple for the wider audience so we can make it so that everybody can be able to understand it. Educational research is key because it helps us understand what works in different communities and why. For example, in some regions, family involvement matters more than classroom strategies, while in others, teacher training makes the biggest difference. Evaluation then tells us if the programs are reaching their goals. So for instance, if you're measuring reading scores, that's going to tell you if it's effective in terms of if the strategy is effective physically there. However, you need to also look at the community and the society implementation in terms of the confidence level, the long-term social benefits on the students, on their families, and how these skills help improve themselves and their families into better health, higher income, stronger community engagement. So educational research helps them be able to get and understand what the problem is, have a concrete solution, but the evaluation of it needs to be on the student physically, as we said, in terms of scorings, but also on a wider community effect.
That's why we believe that it's a multidimensional problem and it needs to be addressed on every level. That's why you cannot just go in for one day and just address one thing and it's done.
Exactly. We say that numbers, but also the stories capture the real social impact. There's a big influence on storytelling. There's the influence on what happens when one person gains that information or gets a benefit from a certain research and what they end up doing. So sometimes long-term research is also very efficient because it shows you how the impact has been over the years.
So, what innovative funding models or sustainable development strategies can be implemented to support long term literacy programs if we talk in the global perspective?
It's a very, very interesting question. Always problems that people tend to it's the hurdle for a lot of things. But personally, I believe you cannot rely on one source of funding. You cannot rely, for example, on a donor or a short-term type of funding, because this means that those initiatives are going to stop once the funding stops. So a stronger, for example, approach could be the combination of, let's say, government investment with private sector support, or even community participation. Sometimes, if the communities can do these little micro loans expertise into those research. They have they feel they have an input in it. They can give their opinions. They're very invested in it. So honestly, it will be like broader, and broadening the investment type, being able to not have just one source of income, but several ones. So if one has an issue or stops, you can still continue your initiative. So it's being more sustainable. Another also strategy would be to link it to issues that affect people. For example, if the community has climate awareness, if the community has problems with job skills, has problems with health, linking it to what the community actually needs makes sure that this becomes more sustainable.
Again, the thing that we need to understand that it's a multi-layered thing, and we need to address everything to achieve the best form of literacy around us. So, how do
Exactly.
you think that literacy campaigns promote global collaboration and address literacy challenges worldwide?
Global collaboration. It can be like ups and downs. Collaboration is extremely beneficial. For example, when you work together with universities, NGOs, and between different countries, you can share materials, you can get different methodologies. It can give you a head start. You don't have to start from scratch. And also now with the availability of technological platforms, like you can get a lot of sources. But I think the ideal would be to bring it back to where your culture is, to bring it back to your community, being able to have more, if I can talk because that's where my expertise is, for example, more of South-South learning. We get a lot of those concepts from, let's say, the Western world, where these concepts are good. We know we have like a stepping stone or where to go, but they need to be brought back to what is the actual need in the area, in the region, what's the need in the South regions, to be able to make it more sustainable, to be able to make it more like a good collaboration. So you take the concept, you understand it, you implement your cultural and community needs, and that will help you will have a good stepping stone to proceed.
So, you believe that we need to work on grassroots level first, and then we can move towards the global thing. And you believe that if we are working on our region first, then it will be better approach or better foundation to go for the global one.
Honestly, from what I've done from the research, realized it's not a one size fits all. So basically, you cannot take something that worked in one place and just implement it blindly somewhere else. Whether it's literacy, whether it's educational research, whether it's even from my background in construction or whatever it is, you take those ideas, you take those foundations. There are so many good research, so much things that have been done that they can be your stepping stone. But I believe like each person knows their community best, knows their country best, knows their nation best. So you know what's needed in your nation. So you understand what's being done, you implement your part of it, and then let it flourish. So as you said, yes, have a foundation and a stepping stone.
And we need to have a customized approach according to the region and need of the people for it also.
Exactly. And honestly, it needs to be like anywhere. Like it's not a one size fits all. Like I think that's what in the end you realize. Globalization had gone and has put for a one size fits all platform or vision for a lot of people. But in
Yeah,
the
something
end,
which is not universal. Yeah.
exactly, it is not, because cultures, communities, way of lives, even what is available in each country, whether it's resources, whether it's your agriculture, whether it is the way the different religions, how people interact with each other, how they invite each other to their homes, how people. So these are very culture specific, very community specific, even in certain countries, from a village to another, from a city to another, they differ. So I think people know their communities best. So take what you can, but also adapt it to you.
That was really a food for thought, like very thought provoking, because some people are only like intending to make a very big global difference at once. They just want to make a change, they want to influence a larger community, but they don't understand the need of every specific region and how to address their customized approach and how to tailor it for something. So that was really very important to understand.
And baby steps, it's like a domino effect.
Yeah,
You can
baby
you help somebody, they help somebody, they help somebody else, and it really is a exponential effect. They can get to that, but I think in the beginning, just do a step-by-step process. I think with everything happening, we all want to make it big and quick and all of that, but I think like small steps, a step at a time, honestly, and then you take your process, it goes on.
Yeah. So, how do you think educational institutions actively participate in and benefit from global literacy collaborative networks to share best practices and address common challenges? Do they have any type of participation and contribution in
Education
such things?
like they educational like institutions, they help, they're the role in there, they're doing all the research, they bring the research expertise, they can train the teachers, they have ability to test new approaches whether on their staff, on their students, and by joining like a global collaborative network, they can share their findings and learn more from others, while also creating like opportunities for their students and staff. For example, if you have a certain type of research and you'd like to see how it is implemented in different areas or different cities, collaborating with different institutions can provide you a bigger and wider and quicker effect to see the implementations. And also like it can help the students that are in the institutions have a more real world experience, whether it's in literacy projects or any other type of research. It helps also strengthen like the reputations of the universities. It helps also create a community that's more active. So if you have like researchers that can go within the community and you go inside community, it can create between the institution and the community more of a partnership, but not just a place where students go learn and then go to a job. Or they can create more of an involvement and partnership between each other. So I think it's a mutual benefit. Communities get support, institutions can gain knowledge from their expertise, whether what's happening really on the ground, and it can also create maybe new funding opportunities if anybody that is looking on or looking into these programs is interested more.
So whatever your opinion was, I can say that it was very clear and very concise. And the clarity of your approach will give clarity to a lot of people who want to achieve big things, but they ignore the importance of small things, like taking the baby steps and making the foundation stronger.
Yes, and honestly, like if you want something to be sustainable, if you want something to remain, you need to be able to have provided a very good foundation. You need to provide, and I say this to a lot, for example, of young students that are coming in. You need to know exactly, you need to gain the technical skills. You need to understand what you want, have a great foundation, understand it, be able to master it, and then you can go and do whatever it is that you need. If it's a shaky foundation and you grow too fast
Correct.
and it's beyond what you can actually absorb, then you are setting yourself up for a lot of trouble going
And
forward.
maybe this is one of the issue people are
So
facing, that they
honestly,
just need to fill the gaps and they just do it for the numbers and stats for the time being. And this is why the foundation is always very shaky and
exactly.
leads to bigger problems, bigger challenges.
And honestly, like, you know, like, because we're talking about literacy here, like, it's not just about like reading and writing. It really like empowers people. It provides equity. It provides the ability to engage fully in the world. And also can provide, for example, a lot of opportunities for people to accelerate whatever research they want to do, or even for institutions, it can bring knowledge and innovation to communities. So it's a really important foundation for everything else. It's not only, as I said, like reading and writing. It helps like align the pieces together, and so it becomes like the driver for social change and sustainable development. So I hope like these little parts of my experience can help whoever's listening.
No, these little parts are going to help in a very big way because it was a very different perspective and people would know from where to start. They are always focused on where to end and they want to see the bigger picture. But it is very important to see all the bits and pieces to fit into the bigger picture in a nicer way. So, thank you so much for your perspective. This was very fruitful, at least for my own personal approach. I think it would be very good for me that before going to make a global impact, start from your own community, start from your grassroots level, and then you can have a bigger picture in a better way. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to meet you, and I hope we can benefit whoever's listening to this. Thank you, Warda.
Thank you so much. I wish our audience will get connected to learn from you in a better way and in a bigger way after the e-Symposium as well. So thank you once again. This is Highflyers
No,
signing out.